Maurice is becoming more than just a Nollywood actor, but there is something people are beginning to notice. There is something about Maurice that I think many people did not notice when he first became popular. At first, people saw the handsome face, then they saw the acting, then came the confidence, the charm, the way he carries himself on screen, and that ability to make people believe whatever character he is playing. But after watching his journey for some time, I think there is something deeper happening with Maurice. He is slowly moving from being just another popular Nollywood actor to becoming a name people actually look for. And honestly, that is not an easy position to reach. Maurice first gained major attention from his role as Acid in the television series Hustle. From there, he continued appearing in films and television projects and gradually built a reputation around his screen presence and versatility. But here is where the story becomes interesting for me, because when an actor becomes popular, there are usually two possibilities. Either the popularity comes quickly and disappears quickly, or the actor keeps growing until the audience starts asking, what is this person doing differently? And I think Maurice is entirely a different case. You understand? He's entering that second stage right now because people are asking, what is this person doing differently that is making him as in the talk of the town when it comes to the entertainment industry? Guys, let's be honest. Maurice has a very particularly screen presence. He doesn't always need to be shouting like as in to attract people. He doesn't always need to overreact. Sometimes his expression alone can tell you what the character is thinking. And I think that is one of the reasons people enjoy watching him, right? There is also something else that I noticed. Maurice has managed to create a public image that is interesting without exposing every part of his private life. You understand? He have tried so hard to keep it private. In an industry where almost everything can become content, that kind of privacy can actually make an actor more interesting. People become curious. Who is Maurice Sam? As in, when did he even start? How come he has gotten to where he is? You understand? Who is even this guy when the camera is not there? People want to know him outside acting. What is he really like? What does he want from his career? And where is he trying to go right now? You see, those questions can keep an actor interesting for years. That curiosity, that as in that questions people keep asking, they really want to know. It will keep them going for years. But here is what I really think. I think Maurice's biggest strength is not even his looks. Yes, let's say it's not even his looks. The man is handsome, no doubt, and Nigerian audience definitely notice that. You can't even hide that. But being handsome can open the door, right? It cannot keep the audience inside. At some point, people want performance, they want personality, they want consistency, they want an actor who can make them feel something. And that is where Maurice have been able to separate himself. He has continued working, he has continued appearing in different kinds of role, and he has slowly built a recognizable identity. That matters. To me, that is what that matters, because Nollywood is filled with talented actors. Every year you see new faces appear. Some become popular for 6 months, some become internet sensation. People as in switch, they become content creator. Some have as in one huge movie and then disappear from public conversation. You understand? But the real test is consistency. Can people still remember your name years later? Can they recognize your, as in, can they recognize you immediately when they see you? Can they click on a movie simply because your name is attached to it? That is where I believe Maurice is becoming stronger, and he is gradually getting there. You understand? One thing I find interesting about him is how much his journey has changed over the years. In March 2026, around his birthday period, he shared questions from years earlier and reflected on where he was, then compare it with where he is right now. And that got me thinking. Sometimes people seek celebrities only from the outside. We see the pictures, we see the movies, we see the interviews, we see the clothes, we see the smiles, but we don't see the years of uncertainty behind all of this. We don't see the auditions that didn't work, the disappointment. We don't see the roles that nobody else got. We don't see the moment when an actor probably wondered whether the dream would actually work. Then suddenly, years pass, and the same person who was once trying to prove himself is now somebody people are talking about. That is the part of Maurice Sam's story that I find more interesting than gossips. There is growth in his story. He is growing and growth is with him. If you look at the way people talk about him online, one thing is obvious. A lot of viewers don't just see him as an actor anymore. They see him as a personality. There are people who follow him because they like his acting. Others like his appearance. Some even like his confidence. Some simply enjoy seeing him on their screen. And others are curious about his private life. That mixture is powerful because once people become emotionally interested in a celebrity, they don't only watch the person's work, they start watching the person. That is when an entertainer become a brand. But I think Maurice has one big challenge right now. One big challenge. And this is where I want to be honest, because popularity is not the same thing as longevity. You understand? Maurice has already achieved visibility. The next question is, what will he do with this? What will he do with it? Because the entertainment industry can be very, very unforgiving. The audience that celebrates you today can move on tomorrow. So the next level for Maurice is not simply getting more roles. It is building something that belongs to him, his own identity, his own legacy, his own signature. And from what we have seen over the years, he appears to understand that he is not presenting himself as only an actor. He has also been associated with other creative and entrepreneurial interests, including other productions. That tells me something. He may not be thinking about just famous. He may be thinking about building a career that can survive beyond one particular type of role. And that is smart. And that is why I feel that people keep talking about him. Talking about people talking about him. Why are people even talking about him? If you spend enough time around Nollywood discussion, guys, you will notice that Maurice Sam has a very interesting kind of fan base. People talk about his acting, they talk about his appearance, they talk about his chemistry with different co-stars, they talk about his private life, they talk about whether he should settle down, they talk about his career. They even debate what kind of role suits him best. But notice something, they are talking about him. Anyhow, they keep talking about him. And sometimes that is the biggest sign that a celebrity has become relevant. Not everybody has to agree about you. You just have to remain interesting enough for people to have an opinion. And Maurice has achieved that. Yes, he has achieved that. For me, I think that that is all that matters. Let's talk about his why people talk about his private life. Let's talk about that, because the private life question is becoming more interesting. Of course, there's this particular topic or subject around. People are asking, is he married? Is he in any relationship? Because if you follow a handsome unmarried male celebrity in Nollywood, you will know that questions keep popping up. People wants to know. People wants to, as they understand whether he is taken or he is married. But somehow, that still remains as private as possible, even though he has given us clues of his relationship. Now, my personal take on this, if I were to describe Maurice Sam in one sentence, I would say he's an actor who has moved from being noticed to becoming difficult to ignore. And there is a difference. Being noticed can happen because of one viral video. Being difficult to ignore happens when people have seen enough of you to know your name, recognize your face, and expect something whenever they see you. That is where Maurice seems to be heading. And I think the most interesting part is that he still has room to grow. He is not at the end of the story right now. He is somewhere in the middle. There are still bigger roles, there are still bigger production, there are still opportunities to surprise people, and perhaps even more importantly, there is still time for him to define what that Maurice Sam legacy in Nollywood will eventually be. So what is your take on him? What do you think? What do you see on him? When you see Maurice Sam, what comes to your head? I really want to know exactly what the mind as in of my viewers are. Okay, honestly, that is much more interesting to me. Anyway, thank you so much for stopping by. Please, if possible, like, if possible, share for it to a friend that really wants to know more or that likes interesting gist like this, especially about Maurice Sam. Share, comment, like, and I'll see you guys in my next video.